Bulu Vinaka and welcome to this episode of Nations Business. On the show tonight, we take a look at the expedition work that will be carried out by the Blue Prosperity Fiji in Fiji's waters. The Fiji government-led program is aimed at supporting ocean management and the effort in implementing 30% protection of Fiji's ocean. The expedition within the 200 nautical miles boundary will focus on three core areas: marine spatial planning, blue economy, and sustainable fisheries. The program will support inclusion, equity, and traditional knowledge to improve long-term economic stability, livelihoods, and ocean ecosystems. The Fiji government, together with the Wait Institute, has embarked on a Blue Prosperity program that is designed to assist Fiji's vision to sustainably manage 100% of its ocean and marine resources, while implementing Fiji's global leadership commitments to protect 30% of its ocean by 2030. The Blue Prosperity Program will cooperate with current ocean management initiatives and draw lessons from them. The program will be founded on science, collaborative and consultative, and it will include input from government organizations, civil society, stakeholders, NGOs, community groups, ocean specialists, and individuals.
Blue Prosperity Fiji is a government-led partnership between the government of Fiji and the Wait Institute. The government of Fiji has some commitment, international commitment, under its national ocean policy, and it's a major undertaking to make sure that the oceans are looked at in ways that require a lot of changes. And we are fortunate in that Wait Institute has generously joined the partnership, offering to finance the expedition, the data gathering activities, in order to contribute to that work.
Blue Prosperity is a program that seeks to sustainably manage some of our ocean resources. It basically puts sustainable ocean development at the heart of our program, and it seeks to allow us to sustainably manage our ocean resources.
We've been talking about the importance of the ocean. You know, the ocean area for Fiji is much bigger than the area under the land. And I think under the Blue Prosperity umbrella, government wants to emphasize the importance of ensuring that we sustainably utilize our ocean and ocean resources, as well as hopefully promote economic development, economic activities that depend on the sustainable use of marine resources. So the hope is to certainly boost the investment in the use of marine resources, but the point about sustainability should be an important component in that new drive to try and maximize as much as we can sustainably the use of marine resources.
Blue Prosperity is very critical in terms of research, especially nation whole-wide. It is very critical in determining the natural resources from fish species, corals, and the interrelationships of marine resources that are there within those customary fishing areas within Fiji. So it is very important. One is to determine the status of the marine resources and how these status of marine resources are very beneficial to the communities within the fisheries.
The method known as marine spatial planning enables the systematic and comprehensive management of human activities in marine and coastal environments. In order to support sustainable development, it seeks to strike a balance between multiple uses and conservation goals. In marine spatial planning, a gap analysis refers to the evaluation of the current planning framework to pinpoint areas in need of improvements or further action.
The scientific expedition, as I mentioned before, looks at coral reef cover, coral reef health, fish and invertebrate species, fish and other marine species, basically, the diversity and abundance of these species, to see how healthy Fiji's coral reefs are, quite basically. What's the overall assessment of their health and robustness.
The Wade Institute will offer technical assistance and capacity to Fiji during the expedition in order to develop and carry out sustainable ocean plans that benefit local people, the economy, and the environment. The Wade Institute collaborates with dedicated government and local stakeholders. Blue Prosperity Fiji is a government-led program guided by the National Ocean Policy Steering Committee in close collaboration with Utonialo, Blue Prosperity Coalition, and Wade Institute with other NGOs.
I think something that's quite exciting in the near term is the Marine Spatial Planning Gap Assessment. So under the Marine Spatial Planning Gap Assessment, there is the Scientific Expedition and the Ocean Use Survey. Now both the expedition and the Ocean Use Survey allows us to plug in some of the gaps that allow informed decision making for Fiji's marine spatial planning commitments. We're cognizant that there are other organizations and NGOs that have done some incredible work to inform some of the decision making. Our role is to try and fill in some of those gaps. And one way in which we're filling those gaps is the science expedition that's currently underway. The scientific expedition is a Fiji-wide assessment of coral reef health. To my knowledge, it is the most comprehensive. It is the first Fiji-wide scientific expedition, and it basically looks at coral reef health, coral reef cover, fish and invertebrate abundance and diversity, to give us an idea of the overall health of some of the coral reef systems in Fiji.
For the consultations that involves the gaining the consents from the customary fishing areas Ngoli owners, we have been partnering with the Ministry of Itoke through their research unit, and also the provincial councils within the 14 province. We liaise with those the ROCOs that looks after each province, and also we liaise with the provincial councils conservation officers that looks after the different provinces. So we liaise with them on how we liaise with the districts, with the Vanua, and also the district reps, the Matantikina, and also the village reps, the Turani Korus.
Blue Prosperity Fiji also involves the participation of a lot of our partners, local partners, which includes the different agencies of government, particularly those that are working in the area of ocean issues. And it also involves the participation of non-government organizations and our local communities. In Fiji, we have the Ngolingolis that are owned by our indigenous units, groups. So we try and have them involved in that as well.
The process went through a robust consultation through government and also NGOs. NGOs through the Ministry of Fisheries and other government agencies were involved in identifying areas of significance that needs to be surveyed, and also diving sites here. Also, the Ministry of Ethiopian Affairs was one of the key players in community consultations, particularly with Ngoli owners, to seek consent before we actually execute the expedition at sea. So there's been a workshop been held at a few months ago in the planning stage to execute some of these activity in the scientific expedition.
The collaborative effort allows us to work with government partners. It allows us to work with some of the non-governmental organizations who have done some amazing work on the ground. It allows us, and more importantly, it allows us to really get into some of the local coastal communities and working closely with them, seeing what the issues are and seeing ways in which we can help inform some of their management and development strategies.
Analyzing data after the expedition will involve the processing and the interpretation of the collected data to gain insights into the condition and dynamics of Fiji's marine environment. After the work planning phase is complete, the Blue Prosperity Initiative will conduct evaluations in order to produce a marine spatial plan that is legally binding, foster economic growth, and aid Fiji's efforts to improve sustainable fisheries management.
After the expedition, all the research information, like the inventory data on fish, small fish, marine invertebrates, the coral reef health systems, all these data sets are being collated, and they'll be interpreted, analysis will be done, and also the expertise will work together with the NGOs, scientist expertise, fisheries expertise, and also the Blue Prosperity scientists will put together the analysis of these surveys. From this analysis of the surveys, we will interpret the data sets that are well fitted for the community interpretation. So we will very carefully interpret this data to set or to target our community level. So the fishermen and fisherwomen, and also target the non-fishers. So the non-fishers are the supporting some in the village settings. Those non-fishers, they contribute in some ways in supporting our fishermen or fisherwomen. So these data sets are interpreted very carefully for the knowledge in the community settings. So after the expedition, these data sets are translated in a way that we, the advisories for the fishermen, we take back to these community levels. So when we take these data sets, first of all, we'll inform of the traditional customary fishing owners, to inform them what is the status of their marine resources. And secondly, will draw up a policy. It is the easement, these data sets are scientifically driven for the easements of policy decision making. So the chief, the Turangani Benua, the Yaumbula supporting management committee, the fishermen, the fisherwomen are able to interact with the advice of the expertise scientifically to make informed decision with the evidence of scientific data. That's the third one. It is very important for the data sets to be relayed back to the communities, is to make or to design the need for development priorities or to design a management priorities. So based from the data sets, the community are able to draw or make a strategy for management or the need for development using these data sets. So above all, it is very critical at this point of time that research expedition has been implementing, and it is very important for the communities that majority of the management and developments are science driven.
By documenting the resources of the sea and their contributions, it becomes possible to promote sustainable resource management, informed decision making, and the conservation of marine ecosystems for present and future generations. The expedition will involve gathering information about the various natural resources found in marine environments and understanding their significance to different sectors and communities.
You know, prosperity is an aspiration that I think we all aspire to get to individually and as a country. We would like to attain a level of development that is allowing all of our people to live dignified lives, to have employment when they need to access all the services that they would expect to have to support whatever it is that they are working with. So with this new initiative, we would like to incorporate in a much more tangible way the contribution from our marine environment. So far, we don't even know the financial savings to Fiji for all of the fish that we eat from Ngolingolis. We know the value of the tuna that we send elsewhere, but we really don't know how much savings we make because we have healthy fisheries. If we are to improve on that, then we need to get that kind of work done. We need to make sure we document how the contribution of, say, the resources of the sea and their contribution, and if it is possible to improve and widen some of those areas, so be it. But all of these activities need to be pursued sustainably. That's basically the hope, that we widen the use of the resources that are out there in the ocean, but we must do it in ways that would ensure we have resources here for future generations of Fijians whenever they come to replace us.
Dr. Chweli Vetayaki is of the view that involving local communities in marine expeditions such as these brings numerous benefits and is crucial for a comprehensive understanding of the marine environment. Key reasons include traditional knowledge and expertise, cultural and historical connections, community-based monitoring and data collection, and socio-economic considerations. Working hand in hand with local and maritime communities, researchers can access valuable knowledge, promote sustainable practices, and empower communities to actively participate in the management and conservation of marine resources. The collaboration between scientific expertise and local knowledge contributes to more effective and inclusive marine research and governance.
You know, there was a time when some of us thought indigenous knowledge was on the way out. But, you know, there's now a revival of interest in the study of the knowledge that allowed our ancestors to be here in places like in Fiji. You know, we were renowned navigators. We did not have compasses, or our ancestors did not have compasses, but they were well known for the way they could navigate through the Fiji group, going from Laos to the other parts of Kandawu, the other parts of the land. We have an agricultural system that provided our food. You know, like, believe it or not, irrigated taro planting was traditionally practiced in Fiji. The whole issue of, you know, under that national ocean policy, and the commitment is for Fiji to sustainably manage 100% of its marine resources. And the second commitment is that 30% of Fiji's waters under the law of the sea will be protected. So, yeah, our ancestors practiced tambus. This is something we don't learn from books. It actually is passed down, part of traditional knowledge. So these are just some examples of the in-depth understanding our people have of the environment that they were part of.
Government is of the view that Blue Prosperity Fiji will provide an opportunity to assess the status and abundance of marine resources. Through scientific surveys, data collection and monitoring, researchers can gather crucial information about fish stocks, biodiversity, habitat health, and ecosystem functioning. This information forms the basis for effective resource management, ensuring sustainable harvesting practices and preventing overexploitation.
Yes, we are so lucky to have this program on board, and hopefully we like to give thanks to our supporters to be in this program and so, because we don't have that particular program here in Fiji, and what we having here right now, I think we have more data collected, more since coming from the community. They will know better of their resources.
Over the years, I believe you may have understood that the ministry had undertaken marine resource inventory surveys, and we have collected data on about 210 ingolingolis. But these studies were undertaken probably around 10 years ago, and they may not be as relevant as it is today. So, as the Honourable Minister had mentioned, we see that this is a great opportunity to update those baseline information that were collected in the past, and to be able to make informed policy decisions and intervention.
Many communities around the world rely on marine resources for their livelihoods, including fishing, aquaculture, and tourism. Marine expeditions help understand the socio-economic aspects of these communities, including their dependence on marine resources, economic generation, and cultural practices tied to the sea. This information is crucial for supporting sustainable livelihoods, ensuring equitable access to resources, and developing appropriate policies and initiatives for community development.
The outcome of this scientific expedition is going to be very beneficial. Okay? The outcome is going to outweigh whatever cost that is going to be affected for this expedition. When I say it's going to be very beneficial, because this is something that should have been done a long time ago. But the opportunity now is for us to collect that information now. It's never too late. So when I say that, it would mean that the customary fishing rights owners would be able to have the right information, the right data. They would know how to manage their fisheries resources after this data is collected. Data is, it's information, it's power. So for us, that is the first and the foremost step that we need to take, is to collect that information. While the team are out there, they're going to look at everything that is there, and they would be able to provide those data. And then from there on, government would be able to make decisions and policy interventions that would benefit the community.
Marine expeditions can be costly due to various factors involved in planning, logistics, equipment, and research activities. Conducting scientific research in the marine environment requires specialized equipment and instrumentation. This includes instruments for water sampling, underwater cameras, acoustic devices for mapping and surveying, and sophisticated sensors for measuring physical, chemical, and biological parameters. Marine expeditions involve a team of skilled personnel, including researchers, technicians, and support staff. These individuals require specialized knowledge, training, salaries, and travel and accommodation expenses contribute to the overall cost of the expedition. The Fiji government and Wade Institute are partnering in an exercise experts say is of significant importance.
I think one of the reasons why we have not undertake an assessment or an expedition of this magnitude is basically because of costs. Fiji consists of over 411 golden goalies, and that's basically where we are putting the emphasis at the moment, because the tuna resource, they have a lot of data information on that. But for the current expedition, there are different teams. They will measure the coral, the state of the corals in the areas where they dive. They'll do counts on fishes, big and small, and the non-fishes, the tree and the vividi, and so that. And they'll also undertake some take some water quality checks. The intention basically is to try and provide in all of the golden goalies that can be covered under this exercise, the information that can then build the database that we hope we can make as the basis of that marine spatial planning. So in years to come, hopefully with layers of data, policymakers and planners can then be assisted by these programs to make better decisions as to what is the best use of that particular area given the conditions that are there. So that's something that I think we never really have used in the past, just because we don't have the capacity. And I must also recognize that a lot of expeditions have been done in recent times. I think the last one was just last year with the Lau seascape, but these were sort of regional. I think WWF have been up in Maduata for over decades, but that was the thing. They were focusing on just, and again, it's just because of costs. Now we have a good partner, and we are hoping to make full use of the opportunity, not only to gather the data we require, could also get some of our own people involved in this kind of, the university or the region does not have a research vessel of the kind that is out there. So, this is, I think, a really welcome time for Fiji to have such a service that will provide very useful information for our government and officials and of course businesses to get on with what they want to do. The aim, of course, is Blue Prosperity Fiji. We pursue all the development avenues we want to pursue, but be reminded all the time they have to be done sustainably.
The Line Minister is of the view that conducting marine expeditions focused on resources and communities reliant on marine resources, researchers contribute to the understanding, conservation, and sustainable management of marine ecosystems. These expeditions help protect biodiversity, support sustainable livelihoods, inform decision-making processes, and ensure the long-term well-being of both the resources and communities that depend on them.
They take a very important role because most of the time they know the Ngolingol is there. As the doctor said that belongs to the government, and most of the time they take sometimes they take wrong actions. But mostly they are the one. They are steward of that Ngolingol. They look after the Ngolingol, and that's their livelihood. They start from and it's more important for us also to give them the right numbers, the data that they need. So if they put in a tambu to a certain species or something like that, it will be very easier because they have the data with them. Which one is getting low, which one is more. So it's a very important to get involved them into this program for them. They can know their resources are there and they are the one they're looking after.
And that was Nation's Business for this week. Remember, you can view today's show on the Fiji government YouTube page. Be sure to join us again at the same time next week. Till then, stay safe and more demanda.